Hello everyone and welcome back to Weather Now. Now we just got done with a mini cold spell here in Houston, but those temperatures are unfortunately on the rebound. With those chilly temperatures though, I feel like even though short-lived, have us all thinking a little bit more to winter. Yes. So speaking of winter, we are joined now by Houston Chronicle meteorologist Justin Ballard, and we are going to continue our conversation that you started with Travis on Monday and chat more on the possibility of winter weather over the next few months.
Yeah, so it was an interesting topic that kind of came up a few months ago between Travis and I, and I wanted to explore it a little bit. First of all, let's kind of recap what we talked about on Monday. We're exploring the connection between whether there is a connection between tropical storm and hurricane landfalls in Texas and snow that follows in the winter after. So is it correlation or causation? I analyzed 16 winters that featured at least 1/10 of an inch of snow in Houston or more. 10 of those snowfall years followed, Texas tropical landfalls. 4 of those actually since Ike, 3 since Hurricane Harvey in 2017. So there definitely is some sort of connection, or so it seems, at least, between hurricane and tropical storm landfalls and snow in the following winters.
And I remember last year I was talking to Travis and he's like, Rachel, just wait for it. It's going to snow this year. And I was like,
sure enough.
But it does seem like there's some sort of connection, obviously, between the winter snow and also the landfalls. But that's not the only large scale weather and climate pattern we have to watch that could influence that, right?
Yeah, we have to really keep an eye on the INSO state of things, specifically El Nino versus La Nina. We're heading into a La Nina winter, and this is what we see. You see the cooler temperatures upwelling along the eastern equatorial Pacific, and then that actually leads to often warmer and drier winters because guess what? That jet stream, you see it here, gets buckled too far to our north. But there is an interesting connection here between La Nina winters, which are hypothetically warmer and drier in Texas, and snowfall.
Ooh, okay. Okay, let's talk about that. And also, let's talk a little bit more about the influence on our state here, and then what other factors that can influence.
So La Nina typically brings warmer and drier winters. I mean, we saw a La Nina winter last year. We saw one in 2020, 2021. So this is just a look at some of the most recent snowfalls, the 5 most recent snowfalls. You see a lot of La Nina showing up here on the board last year, 2020, 2021, 2017, 2018, and then 2008, 2009. The only one that wasn't a La Nina was 2009, 2010, where we had a strong El Nino. So it definitely seems that despite the fact that La Nina favors warmer, drier winters, we do see, it seems, at least recently, more snow events happening during La Nina winters.
Well, and I was thinking about it too. We all, of course, remember February of 2021, and that's what was one of those years we were like, okay, we got a pretty good La Nina here.
We did.
But that doesn't, and that's what's interesting, when you look at climate as a whole, it might seem like, the past few months were warmer than average or below, but that does not mean that certain days will not end up being chillier or more snow than what they could have.
And there are other climate patterns too that are at play. I actually kind of analyzed some of these. So let's take a look first at the North Atlantic Oscillation, the NAO. And in the negative phase, it tends to favor cooler weather across the southeast and warmer weather in Canada. Now, let's talk about another phase, or oscillation rather. The Eastern Pacific Oscillation in the negative phase favors cooler weather across really much of the central part of the country, and then warmer weather over the Pacific. And then finally, this is an interesting one, the Pacific North American pattern. In the negative phase favors cooler weather, you see in the central western part of the country, warmer weather on either side of that. 2020, 2021, that was kind of linked to the snow event, the cold that came in February 2021, that was kind of linked to a negative phase of the Pacific North American pattern. Although I will say, this phase, depending on where exactly those lobes of warm air and cool air are, can mean different things for Texas. At least in the case of 2021, this sort of setup was kind of at play in the negative phase. I've seen also a couple of examples where the phase was positive, and we saw some cold, snowy winters here in Texas. So this one's a little more like wonky.
Yes, yes.
But
so
certainly interesting. Yeah,
for
digging
sure.
deeper into it.
And so let's talk winter outlook. It was actually released just a few weeks ago. Walk us through what it's showing.
The La Nina pattern is certainly showing up very well. We've got warmer, drier air favored across the southern half of the United States, and then cooler, possibly snowier winters across the northern part of the United States. So here, I mean, yes, we'll likely see some cold snaps. Could we see some snow? I mean,
Can't rule it out at this
La
point.
Niña winter seems to be pretty favorable for snow lately.
Okay, well, it's like we just got a little taste of it.
Just a little taste.
So, I think we all just want like at least one solid snow day, as long as the power stays on.
Right.
And it's good.
Then
Then it's fun.
part. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Justin.